whole new weekend of Chair Shot Reality, episode 312. We're getting closer and closer to WrestleMania weekend. We, of course, will be at Sherlock's Pub in Arlington Friday. You can be part of a special filming of CSR. And then Sunday, our annual pre-WrestleMania party. Matt Hardy's our special guest. And already sold out. They were available for just mere hours. Sold out the very limited backstage passes to hang out with Matt before he takes the stage, does the meet and greet, does the Q&A with us. So the only way that you can now get a chance to meet Matt at our CSR event is you can do the general meet and greet, which is $10 you pay on the spot. And, of course, the Q&A is free for all to enjoy.
Will he appear? I'm curious now. He dropped the world title. Is he going to be in seclusion for such time? He could be. He could be in seclusion. I want to know. I am wearing his Carolina blue, though, so I'm trying to stay on his good side.
There's
a lot of blue going on.
Only you can answer these questions. All right. Well, let's get into something that will take place on the weekend, and that is what is going to be a very interesting speech the night before WrestleMania. And that is Hall of Fame Sting. It appears that Sting is completely done. Not so much of a surprise. I kept saying for months on radio as people kept putting different scenarios of Sting wrestling a match at WrestleMania. I said it's not looking good. And it seems we have that confirmation. Brian, we'll start with you since you are our resident Sting lover. Reaction.
It's an understatement.
Well, listen, he got his shot. He had his WrestleMania moment. He had we're going on, a year and a half run now from Survivor Series of 14 till, now the match with Triple H at WrestleMania. Not disappointed. Happy. It's over. End of a career. He's 56 years old. It's time to move on. For everyone that thought they might have seen Undertaker and Sting, you didn't really want to see Undertaker and Sting at this point in their careers. So be happy with what you got. I know I am. Great career through WCW, moving up the ranks, his time in TNA and in the WWE. You're still going to see him. Yeah. It's just not going to be in a wrestling capacity. So, kudos to you on a great career.
Let's play the devil's advocate. What could have been if Sting did not waste so many years in TNA?
What could have been?
What could have been if Sting actually said, do you know what? I want to have that WWE experience. And I give him all the kudos in the world for not jumping like every other person and walking to the beat of his own drum. But then he came to WWE, had his one moment. But what could have been with some great matches in Sting's, maybe not his prime, but he had some great matches in TNA. Maybe not matches with Jeff Hardy, because obviously that happened. But Sting had some great matches with Kurt Angle. He had great matches with Samoa Joe. All these great talents. He had an excellent moment at WrestleMania. I just wish, maybe not, but I just wish that he had maybe 1 or 2 more years where he could have developed a really good 3-4 month run in the big company. That's the only thing I wished.
That WrestleMania moment is the difference of him being here and not here in the run of Goldberg and Diamond Dallas Page and those being the most disappointing runs. The WrestleMania moment with all the bells and whistles of the moment of DX and NWO coming together and it was just
made no
spectacular.
Sense.
But it was still fun to watch. That moment is the only thing separating the fact that Sting got to have a positive WrestleMania moment. Even though he lost the match, losers, it doesn't really matter. He had a positive WrestleMania match. That moment is the only thing that's keeping him here, because if he did not have that moment, whoever you want to blame and point fingers to, whether it's him, whether it's his health, whether it's the booking of WWE, maybe it's all three, if he did not have that WrestleMania moment, he's right there with Goldberg, with DDP, who had big splashes and surprise debuts of coming to WWE, and then just a complete, crapping of the bed. Goldberg's WrestleMania moment, what is it? It's him getting booed and flicked off by an entire New York City crowd.
Let me ask you this. Then that WrestleMania moment was great. It was fun to see him live. It was fun for him to get the recognition, the big entrance. Was his debut and his only match at WrestleMania overshadowed, though, because of the surprises of DX and the NWO? Like, do people remember that match more than Sting actually being in it?
No.
The fact that NWO came together, the DX came together?
No, and I also think it was necessary, because I think, as we talked about back last year around WrestleMania after the fact, that those bells and whistles were necessary for that match to live up to the hype that it needed. If all those bells and whistles didn't happen, not to say, not to be pessimistic, but that match I think would have really fell short.
Underwhelming. Yeah, it'd have been underwhelming. For
being one of the marquee matches.
Yeah, and I mean, Brian, like, you were there, obviously. Did you get more excitement whenever NWO and DX came out, or actually seeing Sting perform?
I was excited when the entrance happened. I shut up, no camera phone out taking pictures or anything. It was just take the moment.
I have that video of him, by the way.
Because take that moment in, because it's going to be the only time you're probably going to see that moment. WrestleMania. Now, I know we saw him at Night of Champions, but that WrestleMania, I took it in. NWO, the DX thing was cool. I was still like, okay, who's next? After we had DX come out and after we had NWO come out, I'm thinking, is Eric Bischoff coming out?
Flair.
Is Ric Flair coming out? Is Vince going to come out? I thought if you're going to continue building on that storyline, but no, I mean, I think it was done right.
While we're fantasy booking, I think that would have been the greatest addition. I know Vince doesn't like to insert himself in Mania unless he really needs to for whatever reason. I think that would have been a great insertion to have Bischoff come out the NWO and then Vince come out to
telling
side
DX
with
like,
DX.
hey, let's go.
I mean,
Get him
what
down
I mean,
there,
what
yeah.
a moment. I mean, talking about moments. That's the only way I think that could have gotten any bigger. But
Well, now my
year
question,
later, we're fantasy
so
booking.
you started this off real quick, Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame speech, and I said this last week, the Hall of Fame class isn't super strong. Yeah, you've got some really good names in there, but you don't have a second headliner like you do in most years past. So the speech is going to be a good speech, but though he's not wrestling anymore, do we see him in storylines down the road in some capacity, one-off returns just to say hey?
Potentially a general manager, authority figure, and that's been done over and over and over, and I understand that, but it's never been done with somebody as high profile as Sting. I don't think so. I think he's
Slick
more
back,
just like
black hair, sunglasses.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, especially if Shane gets ownership and he brought WCW here. You know, so like they can spin that, but I don't think they will. But they could.
What I don't like about it is that we put Sting, at least I do, we put Sting in that same category with the Taker, the Wyatts, those supernatural kind of
mysterious
characters,
person,
and I don't like the thought of him being an authority figure.
I think my last word on this is I think the way Sting should end his speech, just like he ended WCW. The only thing for sure about the Stinger, nothing's for sure.
I think we'll get what we see out of Shawn Michaels anymore. Shawn Michaels never having another match again, but obviously Michaels will show up. He'll super kick somebody. He'll get involved time to time. I mean, obviously, assuming here what we know about Sting, obviously he's not good enough to have any more matches to put at risk, but I'm sure he's still good enough to to deliver.
Just just one time show up in the rafters and just think of the wow, Sting's back. No, he's not. He's just showing up to mess with us.
He's just fixing the lighting.
He's already getting excited.
He's just fixing the lighting. All right. We got Roman Reigns talk. We got Healer Face.
He's back.
We got much more coming up here. Chairshot Reality, WrestleZone.com.